Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are here with Austin from Ohio, and today is Friday, July 30th, 2021. I want to start off by thanking everybody who was at the surprise live stream yesterday, the mobile live stream, and I want to apologize that I had to end that early. Most of you seen live exactly what happened. There were tornado warnings going off, and as you can tell, I'm alive, of course, and we're all good here. No tornado in my town, but in the next town over, there was one on the ground for just a little bit, which it's actually insane. There was 3 of them, but the local news only reported 2 that touched down on the ground. Now, I want to tell you guys something. We talked about this before. There has never been a tornado in this area or in the Ohio Valley. People always talk about, oh, we'll never get tornadoes here because of all the hills. And the most I've ever heard was just really, really, really strong storms and microbursts. Never a tornado. And yesterday we had 3 in 2 hours. Think about that. 3 tornadoes in 2 hours in an area that does not get tornadoes ever. There were also tornadoes in other parts of the country, just very, very, very weird weather pattern. There's also snow in Brazil. So I don't know what they're doing with the weather, but something is really going on with that. I was going to go yesterday and try to go chase me a tornado, but we had a bunch of stuff to do here. We had to make sure we didn't get blown away ourselves, and I was kind of expecting one to form pretty close to our house. But it's okay. I will catch it next time. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump in. This first one here is from Devix, the state of global health security. And, of course, you guys know they are really ramping it up. They are really, really ramping it up. What's in the U.S. Senate situation preparedness bill? Wait till you guys get a load of this. U.S. lawmakers are looking closely at how the country should tackle situation preparedness and prevention moving forward. While a new bipartisan Senate bill represents a promise of action, it also highlights some key debates around how to respond, according to none other than global health experts, right? The International Pandemic Preparedness and Situation Response Act of 2021 was introduced last month and is co-sponsored by Senator James Risch, top Republican from Idaho on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, and the committee chairman, Senator Robert Menendez, a Democrat from New Jersey who had introduced competing legislation on the issue last year. So, already right off the bat, you can see that these people are not on opposite sides. When it comes to their agendas, they're on the same side. It's welcome because it's bipartisan and the kind of signaling that's needed right now to the President Joe Biden White House. But there's a nucleus of bipartisan consensus on the need to do more at a bigger scale quickly to deal with the expansive threats, said J. Stephen Morrison, Senior Vice President, Center for Strategic and International Studies, and Director of its Global Health Policy Center. Notice the wording. To deal with the expansive threats. Oh, we ain't even got there yet. You guys wait. You wait till you see what's going on. Make sure recording's still good. I never know what's going on with this recording app. It's been doing all right so far, but I literally never know. All right. While the Biden administration has taken some positive action, a longer-term vision that is scaled in a better structure for coordination beyond the fragmented effort of talented people at different agencies are both needed, he said. the congressional support, the Senate bill, a number of House bills addressing the issue, and a budget bill passed by the House that boosts global health security funding, including for a new global fund. Notice how it said new global fund, not new global health fund. You got to pay attention to the wording. You have to, or else you might misunderstand something, you might miss something, so you really have to focus on the wording, because these people are snakes in the grass. That's the only way you can really describe them. Should motivate the White House to do more, Morrison said. The Senate Foreign Relations Committee appears to be prioritizing the legislation and would like to move quickly, said Carolyn Reynolds, co-founder of the Pandemic Action Network, who spoke with committee staff Monday. What is less clear, though, is whether the Senate leadership will prioritize the legislation amid a busy and contentious schedule. Contentious schedule, sorry, I misread that word. I do that a whole lot. A variety of congressional efforts, reports, and administrative actions are coalescing. While the details on language and terms may differ, this is the time to go big on this agenda, Reynolds said. There are some things we would like to see strengthened and improved, but it's important for Congress to pass a robust piece of legislation this year that prioritizes the threat of pandemics as national security priority, authorizing significant funding, and strengthens U.S. leadership, she said. Okay, let's see. There's some debate about the specifics in the bill. Doesn't seem to be one place where many members of the health community agree. It does not include enough funding. Of course, it never does, right? Oh, there's never enough funding. We need to steal more of the people's money, right? The recent G20 high-level independent panel financing report said that $15 billion in global funding was needed annually, including $10 billion a year to a new global fund addressing pandemic preparedness and response. The current numbers in the bill, about $3 billion over 5 years, are less than what the U.S. should contribute and also below what the administration has requested for the fiscal 2022 budget. What I really wanted to get into before I, here, right down here. What's in the bill? The Senate bill offers a broad set of guidelines for how the U.S. should respond to the C-19 situation. Already, look, a broad set of guidelines for how the U.S. should respond to the C-19 situation. So they're going to go about it in a whole new direction. And how the U.S. should engage in and lead global situation preparedness and response efforts. The bill states the U.S. should lead and implement a comprehensive and coordinated response to end the situation. That means they're going for the goal, that they're going for it right now. It outlines a number of steps the U.S. should take to do so, including supporting a United Nations Security Council resolution that declares pandemics a threat to national peace and security, advancing efforts to reform the World Health Organization, and working to meet, don't want to get this video taken down, even though it will, but working to meet global mark goals of at least 60% of the population of all countries marked by the first half of 2022. 60% of the population of all countries, of all the whole world population by the first half of 2022. That gives us about a year, right? This is them getting the United Nations involved. They will have the UN on the ground in the United States. It tackles two big issues: how the U.S. government is structured to address pandemic preparedness and establishment of a new global fund to address pandemic preparedness and global health security. On the first issue, the bill spells out a role variety of agencies, including the State Department, the U.S. Agency for International Development, and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and suggests new leadership at the National Security Council at the State Department. Do you see where this is going? Do you see where this is going? It said the National Security Council should establish a committee on global health security and pandemic and biological threats to be led by special advisor for global health security and composed of the members of the cabinet and representatives of a number of other relevant agencies. The committee would provide strategic guidance and develop a policy framework for global health security, including pandemic preparedness and response, and ensuing policy coordination between agencies. It would also establish a new position at the State Department, a special representative for U.S. international activities to advance global health security and diplomacy overseas. A Senate-confirmed position that would have the ability to transfer and allocate funding to relevant departments and agencies. Wait. The position would have the ability to transfer and allocate funding to relevant departments and agencies. I thought that was the job of Congress. In the Constitution, that's the job of Congress, but, we don't go by that anymore. Nope, not in 2021 New World Order America. I really just wanted to highlight in this one, the United Nations. And now check this out down here with this new global fund. Now remember, it doesn't say Global Health Fund. I will post the link to this so you guys can read it in full if you would like to. Check this out. Experts agree that new, dedicated, sustainable funding is needed to address pandemic preparedness and response. Several said it's critical that a new global fund does not take funding away from existing global health priorities, and the U.S. should be careful not to rob one part of the budget to increase funding here. Interesting choice of words there. Some propose the new fund should be housed at the World Bank, while others believe that the creation of a whole new fund isn't necessary and existing implementers should be used. The World Bank. This is the avenue that they will and are going to get their new world order. They're solidifying it right now with this international bill right here. Now look, they're also proposing further investing in existing implementing agencies, including the Global Fund to Fight AIDS, Tuberculosis, Malaria, Gavi, which, they're our friends, Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations, and others, broadening the pandemic response work that they do. Yeah, I really just wanted to highlight this. Just certain parts in here, and I will definitely, most definitely, this will be the first link in the video. Oh, and ready for this? Guess who else is involved? Open Society Foundations, Who owns that? You guys should already know this. I don't have to say his name, but it's GS. Now check this out. A sticking point that may make some global health advocates hesitant to support the bill is that it lacks an inclusive and equitable governance structure, said Kiefer Buckingham, Advocacy Director for Open Society Foundations. While it does mention civil society and other groups being part of the board of institution, they would be selected by the donors. The most successful governance structures of similar organizations include recipient governments, NGO participation, community representation with members independently chosen by their peers, Buckingham said. If we come up with some sort of fund with model that doesn't reflect what we already know to be best practice with stakeholder communities, then we fail, she said. If we create a board that is exclusionary, that doesn't do anything to address some major iniquities, then we have globally a huge missed opportunity. Yeah, the huge missed opportunity is they're going for the New World Order. This is exactly what this is. This is exactly what this is. I just wanted to highlight certain parts in here. You guys can go and read this entire thing here, and yeah, I will link this. But first of all, look what this thing's called. International Pandemic Preparedness and C-19 Response Act of 2021. And it talks about getting the United Nations involved, along with all these NGOs, and creating a new global fund. This is solidifying the New World Order. A huge part of it. I don't even know what else to say about this one. Let's move on. Alright, we all need to have prayers for our friends over in Australia and people on here that are from Australia. My heart goes out to you because Sydney prepares military enforcement as situation lockdown fails to squash Delta outbreak. Sydney's poorest neighborhoods are reportedly bracing for military enforcement of the city's toughest and longest lockdown of the situation as the infection numbers held persistently high 5 weeks since restrictions began, according to the latest from Reuters. With the city of 5 million people ordered to stay home amid an outbreak of the highly transmissible Delta variant, authorities outlined even tighter restrictions for the world's affected suburbs. The worst affected suburbs, including mandatory testing and mask wearing outdoors. From Monday, some 300 Australian Army personnel will help police door knock people who have tested positive to the virus to ensure they are isolating, New South Wales Police Commissioner Mick Fuller said at a televised news conference. The sheer volume of increase over the last week means level of compliance enforcement has gone from hundreds to thousands, he said. The amped-up military and police presence would cover the breadth of Australia's largest city, mainly 8 local government districts in the city's west, home to 2 million people where most new cases have been reported. There's a lot of ads on here, so I actually kind of want to leave this. Critics say those areas have already faced targeted policing measures. They point out restrictions there are harsher than for the rest of Sydney. Our people are one of the poorest demographics, and as it is, they already feel picked on and marginalized, said Steve Christou, one local mayor. I wonder why. Let's see if I can get rid of this ad. Bye-bye. They can't afford to pay the mortgage, the rent, the food, or work. Now to throw out the army and to enforce lockdown on the streets is going to be a huge issue to these people, he told SBS. Others have called for the government to increase its mark drive and support services for the affected communities. Australia's rate of marks, 17% of the adult population, remains one of the lowest among OECD nations. That's basically all we need to see of that one. So, military is going to be on the ground in Sydney. That's really nice. And it won't stop there. It will be worldwide pretty soon, actually. And this is probably what they'll look like. Making sure you're staying in the house. Making sure you get your mark. Making sure you making sure you don't come outside. Making sure you ain't allowed to go to the store. Martial law is what this is. Something that we've been talking about forever and been called crazy for. But moving on. And of course, like the idiot that I am, I'm going to keep talking on this subject for the duration of this video because it's the most important thing right now, and I will risk getting it taken down. That's okay. If it happens, it happens. If it don't, well, you know what? More people will get to watch, so that's cool. ABC News. Yesterday, children remain unmarked as Delta variant surges, prompting back-to-school concerns. How parents and teachers can help mitigate risk. With the situation, Delta variant surge once again prompting the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to recommend masks indoors for teachers and other marked school employees. Many parents are left wondering if the new landscape of the situation means it's safe for their still unmarked children, young children to return to school this fall. So it's not just the adults that they're marginalizing and, dividing by half, turning one half against the other. It's going to be the children as well. And if you send your child to school during this, we already went over all this if you've been following me for any length of time. One day you will get a call saying that your kid is not coming home until you and they are marked. Or they're going to go and have a stayover at the whatever FEMA center that they have, like they have in Ohio and that they put in the newspaper. And then our governor was asked questions on it, and he said he didn't want to talk about it then and never brought it up again. So, early in the situation, epidemiologic data showed parents' reassuring trend. Children were less likely to be infected and more likely to have mild infections. However, as C-19 marks were rolled out and the country made progress toward herd immunity, there came a shift. The viral spread is now predominantly among the unmarked, and of the largest unmarked populations is children under 12, who are not yet eligible for the available marks. Let me tell you something about this so-called herd immunity. Do they claim to have more than 50% of the country marked? Yes. There's your herd immunity right there. You got the majority of the people to take whatever. So if all of that was, good and worked, you wouldn't have to worry about the rest of us, right? And these people don't understand, these sheep, they don't understand that when they're screaming about unmarked people, while claiming that the marks work, well, your actions and what you say tell a totally different story. They probably don't even think that. It goes right over their head. Data from the American Academy of Pediatrics has shown that children have made up a higher proportion of overall infections over the past couple of weeks. That's a blatant lie. Quote, this increase is concerning and yet not surprising, as the virus is going to infect those who are not protected, said Dr. Amanda D. Castell, pediatrician professor of epidemiology and pediatrics at George Washington University. Children are still at risk for developing severe complications from C-19. Fall classrooms will be ground zero for a recipe that epidemiologists fear. Unmarked populations combined with close proximity and limited social distancing could become an avenue for disease spread. Make sure this is still working. While children are not necessarily more vulnerable than they were before, the biology of the disease has changed. The Delta variant is more transmissible, regardless of age, and spreads more efficiently across unmarked populations. Make no mistake, this is a virus that can cause children to suffer and die, said Dr. Paul A. Offit, pediatrician director of the Mark Education Center at Children's Hospital in Philadelphia. Okay. How do they know that this, if everything they're saying is true, how do they know that this new variant is, the biology of it changed? I thought they didn't have time to look into it or nothing because it came out of nowhere in like the last 3 weeks. They haven't even isolated the first one. That's what they say. We know why that is, of course, but just poking a couple holes in the official narrative, don't mind me. Look at this. Look at this. They're already setting you up. They're already setting you up. Quote, we need a mark for 6 to 12-year-olds, and hopefully we will have a mark on hand before we hit late fall or early winter, when this virus will no doubt surge again. Oh, you mean once the kids go back to school and they can hold them there until they get the mark? Oh, now it makes sense. Now it makes sense. An important question now circulates in parent-teacher circles. How do you mitigate risk and still give kids a normal school year? Well, you don't, so... The CDC updated its prior guidance on Tuesday, saying that children and teachers should be wearing masks in school this fall. Experts agree that a nuanced approach to preventing transmission and creating herd immunity with high mark rates is key. And they're talking about just teachers can enforce social distancing and extra personal protective equipment, blah, 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 blah. Oh, man. Oh, man. So they're literally already talking about marking your children once they return to school. I really hope you understand that's what this is. Castell said she believes layers of protection are the answer. The first layer is to have everyone who can receive a mark do so. Parents of children aged 12 and older can make the appointment now. The marks create a bubble of protection not just for kids who have been marked, but also for kids who cannot get the mark yet. For those that can't get marked, wearing masks. Oh, look, while the pandemic is now largely fueled by those who decide to not mark, this fall and winter, the focus will shift to keeping children from becoming the pandemic's next target until marks are available for all. We are in dangerous times, ladies and gentlemen. We are in very dangerous times. And I hope that you can see that. I mean, I know the people that are here on a regular basis, you see it just like I see it. I'm talking to anybody new out there that just happened to stumble across this video. Don't send your kids to school. You will get that phone call one day. Oh, our records indicate that you haven't been marked yet, neither has your child, so we're going to have to keep them overnight or longer for observation, and so they can get the mark, and then you have to get it too, or they can't come home. I can see it now. I can see it now in the way that they're talking about, the unmarked people, right? The other half of the country will eat it up, and they will love every minute of their servitude. Just like Huxley and Orwell were talking about. How people will come to love their servitude. Back then, it was unheard of. There's no way that would get anybody to love their servitude, right? Think again, because here we are. Most people aren't ready to give up material possessions. That's like one of the main things. The fact that if they don't do what they're told and believe what they are told, then somehow they might lose important things. Things that they keep around their home, just things, material things that mean nothing. Moving on. All right, let's check this one out. Joy Behar from The View says that the next step may have to be threatening Americans from their freedoms unless they get marked. 1 second, guys. Well, you guys probably didn't notice that, but I had to get rid of a couple ads on here. Anyway, so Joy Bear, or however you say her name, from The View says that the next step may have to be threatening Americans from their freedoms unless they get marked. Okay, we knew this was coming. Oh, this is going to crash. Oh, I hope it does not. I really hope it does not. You know what? I'll just read this first little part here, and then we'll go to something else. Joy Bear, ABC's The View's latest TV personality, suggests that Americans who refuse the mark should lose the freedom they have. She recently stated, quote, I just saw this morning that the CDC is now saying that even marked people should be wearing masks indoor, which I've been doing when I go to the supermarket, etc. Here's the thing about mandates. We have given them lottery tickets. We have given people incentives all over the place. Football tickets, Krispy Kremes. Why? In West Virginia, they offered to give them a gun. Apparently, that's the only shot they're scared of. The mark shot. Not actually getting shot, so bribery didn't work. So the next step might be what we look at as threats. You will not be able to go to a restaurant unless you are marked. You will not be able to go to a museum. You are not going to be able to go into a theater. In France, President Macron has already made this a mandate. The past 24 hours, 1.3, 13 bloodlines, 1.3 million people have signed up. He didn't put it into effect. He just said that he was going to do it, and 1.3 million people signed up. Just the idea you were going to lose your so-called freedom is scary. Do you see how they talk about us? This is what people defend. People defend this shit. Oh, maybe you should have done what they were told. Maybe you should have done what they were told, and you will keep your freedom. If you even think that you can just so-called, that they could just take your freedom away, then you're already not free. You are not free unless you're willing to die for it. At all. Whatsoever, not even a little bit. They can threaten all day long, and they can take their initiatives and threaten people all day long. But if they come to take your freedom and they are met with nothing, well, then you were never free. But if they come to take your freedom and they are met equally, and you keep your freedom, then you kept your freedom. You're free. We knew this was coming. We knew that this was coming. We were telling people all last year, pretty soon you're not going to be able to go to restaurants, to work, to stores. Oh, that's not going to happen. You're over exaggerating. You're just saying that. There was no way that. Well, here we are. Here we are. Are we still going to deny that there is no agenda for world government when they are literally talking about stifling the freedom of individuals all over the world? How many people have actually read the Constitution for the United States of America? Actually read it, digested it, understood it? They don't teach that in school anymore. So what? How many people, even here, honestly, how many people can say that they have actually read the Constitution front to back? It's not that long. It's really not. All these people running around saying all this crap about how, they could do this and it's their right to do this and you should have just did what you were told. You are serfs. You are exactly what all the dictators of the past would have loved to have had during their time. Their useful idiots were a little bit smarter than the ones that we have today. And the worst part about all of this is that they think they're doing good. They think that what they are doing is just. Even regular people, they're on their high horse. Oh, I got marked. Well, they don't say marked, but they say, the V word, but for our purposes, we're going to say that. Oh, I got marked, so no, I'm going to be able to do anything I want. But I'm still going to have to wear a mask when I go into a store because the unmarked people. Oh, explain to me how that works. Well, I saw on the TV. Yeah, shut up, get out of my face. Moving on. People really need to take a hard look at where their loyalties truly lie and what they truly believe. Like, sit down and think about it for a minute. What do you truly believe? Because you can say you believe things all day long, but you might not actually believe them. Check this one out. ABC News, yesterday. C-19 live updates, dozens of cases across U.S. linked to Christian summer camp. Oh yeah, we got to go after the Christians, right? Because, we're the ones who were the ripest apple on the tree. We are the ones that Lucifer wants. Everybody else, they just come, naturally, just regularly. We're the ones that he's going to have to, caress and maybe fight. The United States is facing a situation surge this summer as more contagious Delta variant spreads. More than 611,000 Americans have died from whatever, and over 4.1 million people have died worldwide, according to real-time data compiled by the Center for Systems Science and Engineering at Johns Hopkins University. Oh, you mean the same Johns Hopkins University where Event 201 was held? I'll rest my case. Just 57.7% of Americans aged 12 and up are fully marked against C-19. Okay, so there's your immunity. If it actually was what they say it is. The CDC on Tuesday, citing new science on the transmissibility of the Delta variant, changed its mask guidance to now recommend to everyone in areas with substantial or high levels of transmission, VID or not, wear a face covering in public indoor settings. Okay, so I want to see where they cited this new science. See, that's all I have to say. The CDC on Tuesday citing new science. What new science? Can I have a link to it? Is the link in here anywhere? No. You can click this link and go to the CDC's recommendations on what they think you should do, but you can't go read the actual science. And you ask them, like, how can this be? Can I not read the science? And they're like, no, man, it's science. How dare you question? We have deified science in this world. It is now considered a religion. It really is. They're blindly following the words of some, quote, experts who never show you the science. Ever. At least with my views and at least with God, I can get confirmation in real world from God. I've had plenty of them. So, you can't do that with this science, can you? Nope. The CDC on Tuesday citing new science on the transmissibility. Where? This is the whole article, by the way. That's it. But where? All they did was come on here and demonize this Christian camp. They said they cited new science, but there's no new science here for me to look at, so I can make a, educated guess. So what? Oh, jeez. Moving on. All right, let's get into a change of pace here. Let's see. FDA clears Synchron's brain-computer interface device for human trials. It's clockwork, guys. It's clockwork. They are literally on it like clockwork. A company that makes an implantable brain-computer interface has been given the go-ahead by the FDA to run a clinical trial with human patients. Synchron plans to start an early feasibility study on its Stentrode implant later this year at Mount Sinai Hospital, New York, with 6 subjects. The company said it will assess the device's safety and efficacy in patients with severe paralysis. Synchron received the FDA's green light ahead of competitors like Elon Musk's Neuralink. Before such companies can sell BCIs commercially in the U.S., they need to prove that the devices work and are safe. The FDA will provide guidance for trials of BCI devices for patients with paralysis or amputation during a webinar on Thursday. So, again, terrifying technology. Another clinical trial with Stentrode is underway in Australia. 4 patients have received the implant, which is being used for data transfer from motor cortex to control digital devices, Synchron said. According to data published in the Journal of Neurointerventional Surgery, 2 of the patients were able to control their computer with their thoughts. They completed work-related tasks, sent text messages and emails, and did online banking and shopping. Ooh, how fun. Transhumanism's fun. It takes 2 hours to implant a Stentrode device with minimally invasive procedure. According to Synchron, the device is implanted through a blood vessel at the bottom of the neck and maneuvered into the brain. Synchron CEO Thomas Oxley told Bloomberg the device could be available to buy within the next 3 to 5 years. And that would be the end of that. So, I brought this up, 1, to show that, yeah, they're on it. And 2, they're now openly talking about something that we were called crazy for just a few months ago. Actually, if you go up to somebody right now and you say, hey, did you see where that company is making that brain-computer interface to where you can control your computer with your mind? And they'll be like, you watch too much TV, man. You watch too much TV, bruh. I'm going to go smoke some weed, man. I'm going to the club. I'm going to go watch TV. That's every single person my age, by the way, that impression that you just heard. Why do you think I have no friends my age? All my friends are older. Literally, I don't get along with many people my age because they are mindless. And a lot of older people are mindless too. But it's not as bad. Sometimes, but not as bad. Not as bad. I only have a few friends my age. So, I lied when I said I didn't have any friends my age. And I'm sorry about that. Well, I misspoke. We'll say I didn't intentionally lie about it. I have like 2 good friends my age. Everybody else are just acquaintances or workplace proximity associates. There you go. Moving on. All right, here we are over at this crap tabloid, Axios. Biden details new mark initiatives as cases surge. President Biden detailed several new initiatives on Thursday to get more Americans marked and slow the spread of the Delta variant. Why it matters. The plan outlines aggressive next steps from the federal government as C-19 cases surge across the country due to the contagious Delta variant, and as demand for marks has tapered off. The 5 initiatives Biden will outline in his speech include requiring federal workers and contractors to declare their mark status, and those not fully marked will be required to wear a face mask at work. Directing the Department of Defense to look into adding marks to the list of mandatory inoculations for people in the military. So, if you're in the military, take that dishonorable discharge. Honestly, it would be better for you than to take this thing. Expanding paid leave for families to get marked by reimbursing small and medium-sized businesses who allow their employees and their families to get paid time off for marks. Calling on states, territories, and local governments to offer $100 to newly marked individuals as an additional mark incentive. Yeah, that's all you're worth. $100. That's it. Of course they're going to throw money at you. It's worthless. Hey, I got a piece of paper right here somewhere. Oh yeah, look at that. Increasing mark rates among teens by calling on pharmacies to hold pop-up mark clinics at schools and colleges. So, yes, aggressive aggressive. This is where all this is going, guys. It's not getting any better. Moving on. Alright, guys, and I'm going to end on this one after we get done reading it. And this is The Great Reset for Dummies. Dated April 25th, 2021. Now, the reason I bring this up because a lot of people still are having trouble with fully grasping what the reset actually is. So, The Great Reset, is it in the fiction or non-fiction section? It would appear that it's the real deal. If you're wondering what the heck it is, here's a start in layman's terms. And this is a quote from Klaus Schwab. The situation represents a rare but narrow window of opportunity to reflect, reimagine, and reset our world. That's the fluffy gist the quarterback of the Great Reset gives us. His name is Professor Klaus Schwab, founder of the World Economic Forum. First off, it's the number one thing every religious leader, government official, teacher, business owner, parent, and every person in the world will say should be learning about right now, but they're not. It's quite literally the greatest threat to humanity this world has ever seen, and it's on a biblical scale. Dramatic? I think not. A life of forced medical treatments, medical passports to buy food, goods, and services, enter venues, attend church, school, work, elimination of property ownership, small business, freedom of religion, sovereign governments sound pretty biblical to me. It's something nobody in the world would agree to of their own free will. So they needed a global crisis to usher it in. They needed the cancel culture, division of race, religion, friendships, governments, and suppression of love and intimacy. They needed to break us down, which is exactly what they did. Okay. The Great Reset is the brainchild of the World Economic Forum and not a not-for-profit, quote, organization most of us never even heard of before the fabrication of this situation. International organization that's been quietly hidden in plain sight for 50 years. Something thought of by the general public as nothing more than another woke United Nations lefty cause organization until now. And that's pretty important, by the way. Very important. The World Economic Forum is not a fringe group or conspiracy organization. Far from it. They hold an annual summit in Davos, Switzerland, to which thousands of world leaders, including Trudeau, business leaders, and the most powerful celebrity influencers from around the world are invited to sit as a group and discuss how they can change our world for the better. The mission of the WEF is to bring together big business, political, and cultural media leaders from around the world to drive change on a global scale, change that clearly benefits them, not you, not me, our kids, or their kids. They play God, essentially. That's their self-appointed earthly task as the billionaire elite. One look at their website will tell you exactly who they are and what they're about. How they are blatantly using this C-19 crisis to usher in the greatest shift our world has ever seen. The Great Reset, or Fourth Industrial Revolution, which entails a one-world global governance and global socialism to succeed. The Great Reset will literally change everything about our current way of life. The way we earn money, the way we purchase goods, the way we freely travel, the way we freely worship, the way we freely choose where we want to live, what we want to read, watch, say, everything. And it won't be for the better. It's 2030. You will own nothing, and you'll be happy. You'll eat less red meat, but you won't mind. You'll rent everything and not be bothered with owning anything. Yeah, sounds great. Sounds wonderful. That was quite literally a commercial the World Economic Forum launched to describe the Great Reset 2030 agenda. That's the end game. That's their intent. The ruling class will own everything, while the newly formed equalized lower class will own nothing and rely on our new global governance built of politicians, business leaders, for their merciful hand of permission to live. Excuse me. Property ownership will be a thing of the past, and they will seek to push civilization from rural settings to urban centers to maximize their technocratic agenda. To monitor, to control the masses, saving the environment will be the incessant mantra to move this agenda forward. Why are they doing this? Well, the simple answer is power. Because they can. Look, we're handing it to them on a silver platter right now. Everything is in place to make it happen. Together with big tech and media, they now have the ability to track, trace, censor, control, manipulate messaging en masse like never before. The rich are richer, more powerful, more influential than they've ever been. A small handful of people control the land, water, food, lumber, oil, minerals, education, transportation, information, technology, and medicine. Every essential element of life, now they're going to use that power to usher in their new digital age. World Economic Forum partners. Okay, not only is the leadership of nearly every country in the world in bed with the World Economic Forum, roughly 730 worldwide private sector businesses are listed as partners on the World Economic Forum website. These businesses are not obscure organizations you've never heard of. You work for them. You rely on them every day of your life to do business, commerce, and socialize. They are the most influential and most important businesses in our communities. They are the most powerful organizations and businesses on earth. And they've signed on with the World Economic Forum to drive this world initiative. Whether knowing or unknowingly, some may not even realize what they've signed up for and support them because it's the thing to do these days. Who knows? Okay, here are some partners. 1 second. Never know what this recording thing is going to do. Okay, Amazon, Facebook, Salesforce, Apple, Google, LinkedIn, Zoom, Hawaii Technologies, Dell, Uber, Mozilla, Verizon Communications, Microsoft, Bill and Melinda Gates, of course, Johnson & Johnson, Merck, AstraZeneca, Moderna, Gillette Sciences, Pfizer, Walmart, Scotiabank, Royal Bank, Manulife, Bank of America, Citibank, Vail, Glencore International, Newmont Mining, Anglo-American Mining, ABB, Simons, General Electric, Air Liquide, S&C Lavalin, Ontario Teachers Pension Plan, Bloomberg, New York Times, Chevron, Suncor Energy, Tech Resources, Nestle, Honda Motors, Toyota Motors, Hyundai Motors, Volvo, Volkswagen, Mitsubishi, Hitachi, Sony, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Lego, YMCA of the USA, and on and on and on and on and on. You know who's notably missing from these lists of 730 partners? Sally's Hair Salon, Joe's Kickboxing Studio, Jane's Kitchen, John's Bait and Tackle, Tim's Massage Therapy, Kate's Bike Repair. And all these people have something in common. They never received an invitation from the World Economic Forum Summit in Davos, Switzerland, because they are not part of the plan. It's obvious to everyone by now that small business is at a target on its back throughout the situation. Every large organization listed above has increased value while small business has been decimated globally. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions, across the world wiped out from existence. This is not accident due to a situation, and it's not a coincidence, it's strategic. The most dangerous individuals to the implementation of the Fourth Industrial Revolution are entrepreneurs. People who have drive to succeed. People who answer to no one but themselves. They make their own determinations and their own decisions. They will not work in the New World Order. They must be wiped out. Oh, they'll be employed, just not for themselves. The future they have planned for us is a top-down global control of undemocratic, unelected oligarchs who care nothing about our national sovereignty, only about power. Dissent will not be tolerated, and we are seeing big tech and media already playing their role well to suppress the truth from every angle. The more we keep entertaining the painfully obvious, fake scientific narrative, the closer we get to making this our new reality, our children's new reality, and it will be near impossible to get the old one back once implemented. It's 1940 Germany on a global scale. Brave individuals who lived through that time are still alive today to tell their stories have said exactly that. It's not fun to hear, but that's the reality we're in. The difference between then and now is there's no sovereign nations coming to our aid. They're all on board the Great Reset. And that's the end of that one. I apologize for reading fast, but I don't have much time. And I have to go. I will link all this stuff, but guys, we're in serious times right now. You literally cannot ignore it. You can't. It's impossible. And they're ramping it up because they know that a lot of people are waking up. So they have to increase. They have to increase the drive. They have to make sure that enough people get their, their mark, right? Let's pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and glory forever and ever. Amen.